Are we actually live now? Okay. I was just checking LinkedIn.
Oh, see, we started trying to do new things. It's usually me that makes a balls of everything, isn't it?
I think I didn't make balls.
That's true. No, that's true.
Welcome
everyone.
To watch
live.
That's watch your language.
For the first, I'd be fine. For the first time ever now. So it's podcasting, YouTubing, and live, all in one.
Yeah, we're on LinkedIn Live, we're on YouTube Live as well. We will be going out live on Instagram, TikTok, and a few other channels kind of going forward. We'll have cameras everywhere, I think.
We have cameras everywhere as it is. I don't know just which ones are up and running at the moment and not.
Christmas decks up?
Half and half.
Yeah, we're the same. Under the tree, have you?
No, because the builder's in. You should be. John, they'll be listening to me now. Get the work done. Finishing a bit of work off, and they should be up this week. Yes. You?
Yeah, we got decorations up, Christmas tree.
I know as the power grid slowed down a bit the last few days.
I put the National Lampoon's lights on last night. If anyone's seen that film, National Lampoon's.
I could see we were looking out the window about 7 o'clock, and then this halo of light.
Yeah, and they had to turn on the nuclear energy. Then the lights worked. We didn't have one out, which I was quite surprised by. It's gone all the way through the winter, and we didn't have one light out because I ain't getting up there on a ladder this year. It's a long way up.
Look, I'm not sure. We talked about this some weeks ago because you were busy last week, or I did it myself.
Was I busy last week?
You were away last week.
I was away.
Yeah. But there's a massive thing at the moment I think people are almost acting, is it like an ostrich and putting their head in the sand and forgetting that there is this, call it the cost of living crisis. You know.
Well, that's what we hear in the papers, isn't it? It's a cost of living crisis, isn't it?
But it's not.
But it's not. We have a different view on that.
And I think the vast majority of people have it. There are certain people that it will affect. Let's not worry about that. Yeah. There are certain people that it is hand to mouth, week to week, and they're the unfortunate. But I do believe, I think you're the same way, it's a cost of lifestyle crisis that people are unwilling to give up certain things to counteract other aspects of their life or their future selves.
It is, because we're living in this world now. We have fast food, fast fashion. Like Amazon, you can get some Amazon stuff delivered the same day. Do you know what I mean? Everything can be had at a push of a button now, which we've kind of never had. And I think with the likes of your social media, your Instagrams, your TikToks, and other channels where everyone sees this, keep up with the Joneses lifestyle where they want what everyone else kind of has and forget about that, and everything goes on kind of credit card, or everyone wants it now. That kind of, so that's what we're kind of saying is I think for there's a large majority of people, this isn't a cost of living crisis, actually a cost of lifestyle crisis. Actually, we're getting used to spending more money than we've ever spent because we want everything now, even though we don't actually potentially need it.
It's the fear of missing out, isn't it?
It's the FOMO, yeah. FOMO, yeah.
Do you know the big thing? I don't know, was it one of the online papers here in Wales the weekend, or last week, did I read that there was some younger people, I don't know, it was male, female, or whatever, in their...
I class myself as young, though. So yeah. What's younger?
Younger than us, in their 20s, that were saving for a house deposit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, last week, all the talk was World Cup here in Wales, England. And from what I understand, they basically don't want fear of missing out, and got their house deposit they were saving, went over to Doha. And you kind of think,
honestly,
wow.
Wow. Okay. So what was more important to them?
At that moment in time, the fear of missing out was being there with their friends. I also read somewhere else where this guy said he wanted to go because all of his friends were there. Another Welsh guy. His partner said, don't go. His employer said, you better be working Monday. And he went. And I don't know what happened after that. And as it's an online paper, I'm not sure if those two were examples or just, some sort of story made up. But it is the fear of missing out. Everyone wants, and you touched on it earlier, the convenience. We all know that to walk around a shop to get a litre of milk, which is walking distance, is £1.20. But if you go to one of the big Tesco's or one of those places, it might be £1. But there's a 20% convenience tax to have that there and then.
Yeah.
And people don't want to wait for the future. And there is a behaviour or a habit where I think a previous generation would, I'm going to use it because I don't like using the word save, but save, cash-based, invest, longer term, but they would save for a new dishwasher, a new Hoover, a new TV. And they were the small things. Everything now is immediate. Buy now, start paying in 6 months, 0% interest. There is debt building up, even though some of it might be 0% debt. It's still everything has to be done now.
Because there was that big phase, wasn't there, of people taking payday loans and all that. So that seems to have died a bit of a death now, I think. But and I think that's a lot to do with the effect that was having on people's credit and get mortgage and so forth. But there's one I've spoken about before is you can actually now get, I think it's your Deliveroo or your Uber Eats, and you can pay on finance for it. No, I'm serious. I like Klarna. Is it Klarna? I think is the. I think you get 3 months or 4 month payments.
What, to pay a £15 bill for?
Yeah, 100%. So what they're saying is, if you want to have that family kind of meal via Uber Eats or Deliveroo, it's one of those. I think it might be Deliveroo. You can still treat your family, but then you can pay it over the next 3 months with credit.
But it's not cheap anymore. You would always think in the past, anything is cheap. And eating unhealthy is cheaper than eating healthier. You go now and try and get some cotton chips in a chip shop. Jeez, you're looking at £7, £8, £9 a pot.
Oh yeah,
everything is gone.
100%. Yeah, it is that. The cost of all of that. But then you go to the likes of. I was in Iceland on the weekend, as you know, and I managed to pick up the same ingredients virtually you could have for a Christmas dinner for less than 40 quid. I kind of did like an accidental trial run. It wasn't my kind of plan really. But like we have some of our food from the butchers for Christmas, and you do the same, don't you? And then the rest of our stuff comes from M&S.
But let's go back to convenience. It's a very good point, because I was going to bring up today. I know it's going to surprise everyone that this hair is naturally, down like that, but I do use a bit of hair gel.
A bit?
Yeah.
Brill cream?
No. Brill cream. So, they get it delivered by the tank load. But again, it's the convenience. And only because I'm noticing the cost of things in one shop that is of an orange nature and begins with an S, it was £5 for this tub of hair gel. In another shop, which was, where were we in the last day? Home Bargain, a Poundland, or one of these things, it was £4. It's 20% less if you shop around. And it comes back to, if I spent £5 each month on that, and I saved 20% over the course of the year, I've saved £12 on one item. Now, if you start multiplying that by 3, 4, 5, 10 items and saving 10, 20, 30%, or if you've done that over the course of a year, I'm adamant you would save £400, £500, £600, £700 on all the things that you spend. So we come back to cost of living, cost of lifestyle, and convenience. And I think you can change, you can save for the future, you can invest for the future. You just have to make changes, change habits, behaviours, and be willing to do a bit of work to save some money on the cost of everything.
I think on the flip side, though, with what you're saying, that you can shop around some of these things, but I think the vast majority of people don't have the time. I don't have the time to shop around, particularly. Do you know what I mean? To go around different sort of shops because, we run a busy life, we've got kids and so on and so forth. Maybe that's an excuse, I don't know. But I do think there are lots of things you can kind of do, that means you can save a lot of money. But I think it just comes back to all you hear in the press, this cost of living crisis, fuel bills going up and so on. And I know we can't really control that so much, but we've been in such a luxury position where fuel's been cheap, food's been cheap, interest rates have been low, inflation's been low, and now and we got used to that since effectively 2008, 2009, when we had the kind of credit crunch crash, etc., we got so used to those good times. And since then, there's been things become more available: fast fashion, fast food, your likes of Deliveroo's, your Uber Eats, all these things we can kind of do. Like I can imagine there's people now who take Uber taxis where probably originally they would have walked or got a bus. Yeah. And albeit Uber can be cheaper at certain times, certainly not as cheap as a bus or walking.
Yeah.
So I think we've just taken the fact that we've all had this excess money, and now we all spend right up to what we're earning.
The Uber thing is spot on, because I was in Poundland or something the weekend. We were buying colouring books, and I brought
shop is some great.
We go to
Poundland.
If you boys want to sponsor this, by all means. But it comes back to COVID, and during COVID had an impact on how we spend. And I'm not talking about just buying things, but you got rid of your Apple Watch because it was almost you could see what was happening, but also it was convenient. You go and you go click. Now these are what I bought here in Poundland the weekend. I'm going to make a video of this here if anyone can see. It does say specimen on it. Here's loads of cash.
Because someone might accidentally think these one-sided notes are real.
There's nothing on that side. But you can see on there.
Might have got away with it in a nightclub back in
my whole point is, right, you go to a shop and now everyone says we're cashless society. And the shops are trying to make it cashless.
More and more.
So you can either get your phone.
So they can control with them.
But you can control your phone on your phone or your watch. Now, if I gave somebody 40 quid like that and go, there you go. If you went into a shop and bought something and you gave them that and you got one of those fivers back, you go, Jesus, 35 quid. You know how much that item cost. You go into some place and you get your phone and you go, beep, beep. You have no idea how much it costs. And that has had an impact on how we spend.
I don't even look at the cash, the machine thing to see actually how much it is. I've got a rough idea in my head how much it is.
I suppose the fact it's a specimen on it doesn't help them.
What, they're about half the size? They're all the same size, that's the funny thing.
No, they're slightly smaller. I'll tell you what. But you have a as they call it, wad of cash like that. You will look after that money and spend it wisely.
Anyone who walks around with a wad of cash these days, you're going to wonder what they do for a living. Because people just don't have cash anymore. But we're going to this cashless society.
And you don't look at your numbers. And we constantly talk about know your numbers. When you do something digitally, a digital number is a digital number. You can have £100, £1,000 or £100,000 in your bank account and you just spend. You have no idea how much money you're spending or what the balance is. But if you take £100 out or £50 out for the week or £40 and you buy all of your lunch, whatever else you want to spend, and that's it. I know you're going almost backwards and having a cash-based society rather than cashless. I think some people have to do it that way because that is the only way that you can track what you're spending, unless you are very, very good at looking at how much things cost, comparing them against somewhere else, and then just buying it. And we have got into that incorrect habit and incorrect behaviour of not giving a damn of what we spend, because this machine here doesn't tell you if you have enough money or not. It's just, I could go into my overdraft, I might not. It doesn't matter. You always think you have money there. And so don't give me the usual rubbish of we can't afford to save, we can't afford to invest. People can, I'd say the vast majority can. And it's not the concept of saving or investing 100 or 200 or 300 or 500 pounds a month. It might only be the concept of starting a new habit of saving into a cash account 50p a week. It doesn't really matter. It's a behavioural thing to start. People need to be coached.
It is. And I think there's a lot of people, you see a lot of people saying, I can't buy a house, I can't move out, I can't get rent, so like that. But I bet you if you looked at their Instagram every Friday, Saturday night, okay, they'd be out on the town, right? And I didn't realise until I think that having kids and so on and so forth, kind of you don't go out as much. But I think you realise when we were out a few weeks ago, actually how expensive it is to go on a night out.
Yeah.
You know, gone are the days of when I was in university and it was 50 pence a bottle of lager. It's a lot more expensive now to kind of drink out. So I think a normal night out's 100 quid, do you know what I mean? With just drinks potentially. But if you're going out every weekend doing that, even if some of these people do this pre-drinking and stuff like that, you're still going to spend money, taxis, food, and so on and so forth. If maybe you only went out once a month or twice a month, not every single weekend. And I've been guilty of it in the past, don't get me wrong, but I'm not trying to be this kind of negative Nancy or saying people shouldn't have fun. I think
Christmas Grinch kills you, I would more so say.
Christmas Grinch, yeah. But it's getting that balance, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? What do you really want? Do you want to be able to move out? Do you want to have that, buy that house? If so, you've got to make some sacrifices. It's like when you run a business, you have to make sacrifices. You know what I mean? And it's no different. You have to have some sort of accountability. The reason why you can't buy the house or move out is because you're going out on the lash every weekend and spending 100 quid on the weekend. And then the following day when you have a hangover, you're spending 20 quid on McDonald's.
Or Uber Eats on a 3-month payment package.
Yeah. Or what's that other one? I saw one today on the way to work. Someone having, is it Getter? They deliver from, it's like a purple, I think, coloured motorbike.
Oh, yes, yeah.
They deliver on the convenience stores. Yeah. So, your little kind of spa shops, if they still exist, I don't know.
But they're the convenience stores that you can actually walk to that I talked about earlier.
They can do, yeah. So I'm inclined to say the one that's delivered from not far away, because I passed one of the stores they probably came from. And I would say, inclined to say they probably could have walked there in less than a minute, but they got someone to deliver it. That is the problem. Everything can be done sweetly. Don't get me wrong. I don't know the situation of that person. They could have been unwell and therefore they couldn't go out, or they could have had a recent operation, so they couldn't leave the house. Then, okay, that's fine. But I think the vast majority of us know we're doing it because we're bloody lazy. That's what it comes down to.
The World Cup, I know you Welsh people now think it's over because you're out.
What's the World Cup?
It's still going on. It's the thing that's over there. Yeah. And I'll put my my neck on the block now.
That's it. Is that the real one?
2 years ago. England are going to win that.
Really?
Yeah. England are going to win it. They, from what I've watched, and I've watched quite a bit of football the last few weeks. It's amazing. I can take.
I've probably watched less than an hour.
I can take 3 hours to make a dinner now because I can watch it as I'm doing it. But England are going to win it because I think they have the best squad, and they've had 7 different scorers in 4 games, which is unheard of. Captain Harry Kane, who qualified as Ireland, as did Declan Rice and Jack Grealish, are 3 players, has 100% success rate in shots on target in the World Cup. Only time ever. He has 7 shots in all of the World Cups he's taken part in, and he scored 7 goals. 100% success rate. Now, killer instinct. But